All right, first of the odds and ends. And just for credit's sake, I got all of these from MMA fighting. Just to put it out there. I forgot to include any MMA fighting logos anywhere, but it's all from MMA fighting. Joanna Jędrzejczyk lays out ideal scenario for UFC return, more money. Although in the article she reaffirms over and over she's very happy with the UFC, but she does say that she feels she's earned a little bit. She is owed a little bit more because of how her standing in the company and the standing with fans and the performances that she gives, title shot and fans. Um, yeah, how realistic do you think that is? Specifically, the title shot part.
I think all that's totally realistic, and I'm fine with all of it. This is a situation where it changes weight class to weight class. Certain people this year in certain weight classes, it benefited them greatly to stay active, to make themselves be seen, to continue to put on good performances, so they're not lost in the shuffle and they remain relevant. All of that is basically none of that applies to women's strawweight. You have Joanna, who fought for the belt in February of last year. Since then, essentially that entire weight class has just gone dormant. You've got the champion who can't fight, and from what Dana's saying, it's looking like we're only going to get her one fight from her this year, also. So um, we're looking like she's
What's
out.
going on with her?
Ariel said something about that on his show the other day, that it's looking like we're only going to get her to fight once this year.
Did she get
So
injured?
do up.
Did she get injured?
No, I think it's just with her lockdown and her how they are in China with her,
Oh, that sucks.
because Dana was talking about his one fight for her. He wants to do it in Asia.
Okay.
So that's interesting. But the thing is, so champion has not been active. The no number one. I mean, Rose fought Andrade, and then Andrade left the division. So, like, sure, maybe Rose has established herself as number one contender. Other than that, like, no one of note has done anything in that division. Joanna is in a situation where she can literally do nothing. She can sit on the sidelines for a year and a half and walk right back in, and her next fight should absolutely be for the title. Against Rose, you got a built-in story, and against Whaley, you got a built-in story. It's like, you know,
I
what's the point in
I
Joanna
think
coming back and just fighting somebody? There's no point in Joanna just
yeah.
fighting a number six girl, like Michelle Watterson to reaffirm herself. People know Joanna. She is like the Max Holloway of that division. Like, she's good. She can just chill. And yeah, later in the year, I say she fights. She comes back. Her next fight is the winner of Zhang Wei Li and Rose.
Yeah, actually, you bringing that up about Wei Li not really being able to leave Asia. I know the UFC has played with setting up apexes, not apexes, um,
PIs.
with PIs. I actually think that it could be a really great strategy for them to set up apexes
Yeah,
along with them.
and do remote shows out of them.
Yeah, yeah, I think it would be really cool. You do micro cards, you could do regional shows out of them.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty cool. Then the next story, Leon Edwards says the UFC declined his offer to fight Michael Chiesa or Neil Magny on January 20th. Dude, what do you think is going on with Edwards, man?
Here's the thing. I'm fine with this for one simple reason. I think the UFC looked at this and they said, okay, what we had on the table before was Leon Edwards versus Hamzat Chimaev, a huge fight. It's going to have all kinds of eyes on it. Hamzat's already got over 1 million followers on Instagram. Leon Edwards doesn't even have 100K yet. So they're thinking, okay, big numbers. We all win. Either guy that wins, we get something big to work with out of that. That falls apart. So then they go, okay, we can have Leon Edwards fight, as we previously discussed. quote unquote boring, presumably boring matchups against Leon Edwards versus KSF or Leon Edwards versus Neil Magny, and you can have them fight at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday when everyone's at work, no eyes are going to be on it live, and it's going to be on ESPN Plus. And it's like basically that like forget any possible hype you could have built out of Leon Edwards. So they're looking at it like, okay, let's wait a couple weeks. You put Leon Edwards versus Hamzat in a main event on a prominent fight night card, prime time. It's just the better move. So I get it. That's fine with me.
Yeah. You put it like that. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just feel Leon Edwards is the perfect combination of bad luck and poor choices.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's like Rashad Evans in 2008 minus blowing out his knee.
Yeah.
It's like, God, dude, that was just, yeah. I'll start with the bottom one. Justin Gaethje likely to fight Charles Oliveira next.
Yeah.
I hate this.
I also hate this because it's just I get it though. Okay, I hate it and I get it. They're looking at it like Oliveira to me clearly in that win over Tony Ferguson established he should be one half of the vacant lightweight title fight in my eyes. But I get it. Some people say, okay, well, he just destroyed a Tony that just got destroyed by Gaethje. So they say, well, now you beat the guy that beat Tony. That's fine and all, but you have Gaethje coming off of getting obliterated by Khabib, and I'm like, man, your standing is not the same. And we'll just go right to it. Let's say they go ahead and book that fight, son. I got Justin Gaethje getting submitted in a couple of minutes. His ground game looked so horrible against Khabib. I think the moment it touches the ground, he gets submitted in an instant against Charles Oliveira.
I mean, I just think Oliveira should be a little bit more vocal here, really, because you put on a performance like that against Tony Ferguson. I am of the mind he should not be fighting anyone except the winner of Conor Poirier.
Yeah, you're right.
It makes no sense to possibly squander the incredible run that Oliveira is on a fight with a guy who's probably going to need another win, even if he does beat Oliveira to fight for a belt.
Yeah. To me, this feels like a big distraction to kill time with them while we get this Michael Chandler fight rolling. I feel like they got a lot of chips on if Michael Chandler can beat.
So weird.
It's very strange, but for whatever reason, they're really gambling on if Michael Chandler can get a big win and have all these eyeballs on him under the Conor fight. But whatever, I don't know. It's weird,
dude. It's really weird that I mean, actually, you know what? I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about really most athletes not named Conor McGregor. But like, do people really know who Michael Chandler is?
No.
Like, yeah. Do they? But again, as I was about to ask that question, that's why I said it. Your average person doesn't know who Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje or any one of these people are anyway. So I mean, I guess
he can at least speak English, which Charles Oliveira doesn't have.
And we've gotten to the bottom of it. There we go. All right, and the next one, Dana White sees mostly downside to open scoring in MMA. Now, this is one of those cyclical discussions we have in MMA. There's like, should weight cutting go away?
Yeah.
Should we have mandatory challengers and whatever? Should we? And now this one's back again. Should we have open scoring in MMA? And I've seen some people make some really, like Dana White here in this article, they make really bad arguments.
Yeah, He did really. It's not a good. It's not a strong.
It's a terrible argument, and it's the same argument I've seen from a couple different people in MMA. Is what about the drama? What about the drama of the fight? You're sitting there and you don't know who's going to be named the winner at the end of the fight. Like, that's not what we're talking. We're not talking about drama. We're talking about, like, a dude needs to know if he's getting boned.
Yeah,
So that
transparency, not drama.
if he needs to rally, he can rally.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, well, I hope I won.
Yeah.
It's but then you still have the drama and open scoring.
Mm-hmm.
You still get a one round. They don't, like, the fight doesn't just end and they go, yeah, round 3 went to this guy, and then they hold someone. It's still
They
read
walk out.
right? Like, it's the drama still exists. It's just like the fighters can know what the situation is.
Yeah.
And I know that there is the argument of, hey, if a guy is up 2 rounds and he knows he's up 2 rounds, by God, that round 3 is going to be boring as hell. I mean, maybe.
And
but
we get that as it is.
Yeah, but the dude who knows for sure he's down 2, I am gonna imagine that guy's gonna go for broke in round 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I just feel like it's some bad faith arguments. I'm not even saying that I want open scoring. I'm just saying, if we're gonna talk about whether or not we want open scoring, let's have the actual conversation, which is it good for the sport, not the show? No one is saying they want open scoring because it's a better show.
Yeah.
It's just bad arguments everywhere. All right. Some quick ones. Kind of in a similar vein to Oliveira fighting, Jesus Christ. Ugh. Before he gets a title shot. Robert Whittaker is definitely going to have to fight again. Dana White kind of going back on his word after Robert Whittaker's most recent win, where he was like, well, I mean, he's a guy. Now he's changed his tune. He's going to have to win again. In my mind, what that means is Whittaker's going to have to win an interim title.
Man, that's the problem with, like, the closer we get to this fight with Blachowicz, I'm like, what's the point? Because Izzy's not planning to stay at light heavyweight. You've got a guy you've got number 1 contenders at both those weight classes ready to go. So it's just whatever. It's fine. Like, obviously, Whittaker's going to have to fight somebody else if Izzy's not even fighting in the weight class right now. But I also think it's like totally useless to put an interim belt on Whittaker versus anyone, because what are you doing with an interim belt other than saying, oh, you're the number 1 contender when Izzy comes back? It's like, just, whatever, just have him fight somebody in a normal fight, and just, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on it. Is, like, the champ stuff is all fine, and it's all good, and it's a thing that gets people excited, especially casuals. But it's just more trouble than it's worth, man. It just muddies the waters for months, if not a full year, at these weight classes, because not only do these fighters have to, abandon their division, possibly lose to a guy who is not in their division, because, like, win, lose, or draw, Blachowicz isn't going anywhere. He's still going to be in the light heavyweight division. So you have a situation where, yeah, maybe he gets knocked out by Izzy, a dude who, has stated he's not a light heavyweight, doesn't want to stay at light heavyweight. So it's entirely possible that Blachowicz gets stopped or at least beaten by Adesanya. And then just his next fight is for the light heavyweight belt that Adesanya just vacated.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. It makes no sense because neither guy has truly cleaned their division out.
No. Well,
So
we just got here, and
yeah.
we just got over John, and it seems counterproductive, but whatever.
Well, next is a real quick one. VanZants finally gets her bare knuckle FC
Debut.
date, her debut. She's fighting on their Super Bowl card.
Yeah, no brainer.
All I can say is because bare knuckle FC. I don't know, kind of. I'm not a fan.
Nope, me neither.
Dana White warns of the illegal streamers of Conor McGregor's UFC 257 comeback. Apparently, they're cooking up something good over the UFC when it comes to busting illegal streams. Brad, like you, I'm already sweating in my hoodie. I don't know what kind of tech wizardry they got going on over the UFC, but Dana White thinks it's some next level stuff.
I don't know. We've heard this before. It seems like every time Conor or Khabib fights, they go around and they cut down all the streams. The next weekend, when David Figueiredo's fighting, the streams are back up again. They're not too concerned when it's anybody else.
Well, it's a cost benefit analysis. Like when Figueiredo fights, the ESPN deal, from what's been reported, they get an automatic, like whatever the price would be for 500,000 buys.
Yeah.
So chances are they're not coming close to that for Figueiredo.
Nah.
Best case scenario, they're not coming close to that. So why does it matter if people stream it? When Conor McGregor fights, though, they're looking to exceed like 1.5 million. So
raise pay-per-view prices again.
Yeah, they're looking to like break records with McGregor.
Yeah.
So if a sizable amount of people are watching via an illegal stream, that's the difference between a record-breaking number and like just a big pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I get it, because they probably get more benefit people just seeing who Figueiredo is.
Yeah.
Like just getting eyeballs on him.
Yeah.
So, because the UFC gets paid regardless, but in a Conor McGregor fight, the UFC is looking to get paid. So, the last little bits of the odds and ends. Diego Sanchez announces that his next bout is more than likely his last. Not too surprising.
No.
I mean, yeah, I mean it should. His last win was a DQ, so
yeah,
cool. I mean, I wish he would have done this a while ago.
Yeah.
Just kind of a highlight on a piece I read today. It came out today. Cost of Being the King. Stephen Morocco of MMA Fighting did a profile piece on Spencer Fisher. I wholeheartedly recommend reading it. It is heartbreaking. It is really, Spencer Fisher is a dude that we grew up watching, and you knew if Spencer Fisher was on the card, you were going to have fun for 15 minutes or however long the fight lasted.
Yep.
And the piece illustrates the price he is currently paying for that. Yeah, it was hard to read, man. It was really hard to read.
Yeah.
So, but I recommend that people who care about the sport and care about the fighters in the sport, please read it and get a snapshot of some of the things fighters go through after a career like this. It's man. It was awesome piece. Highly recommend it. And then we missed this last week because we were on our 12-day New Year celebration. But as we probably already brought it up earlier in the show, Michael Chandler takes on Dan Hooker. That is official. Very excited for that fight.
Yeah. Yep. That's a big one for Michael Chandler. God, I mean, Dan Hooker's a horrible matchup. I feel like the way to get this done, what would have been to make the Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson fight earlier, before Ferguson fought Oliveira, a much more winnable fight in my mind than a young, savage Dan Hooker that is really going to put it on Michael Chandler. I mean, Michael Chandler is small for lightweight, and Dan Hooker is huge for lightweight. Yeah, that should be a great fight. We'll see what we're gonna see what Michael Chandler's all about right out of the gate.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is Chandler getting his legs kicked off. I just don't see it going any other way, to be honest. Because Dan Hooker is
wrestle a lot.
He needs to wrestle a lot.
He should, yeah.
Because Dan Hooker's not a guy who, I mean, Michael Chandler hits really hard, so it's not like it's impossible, but Dan Hooker is not a guy who typically gets shut off.
Yeah.
So if you're against Dan Hooker for 5 rounds and you're the shorter man, you're in big trouble for all the moments that you are not hanging on him. So, yeah, dude, that's a rough go for your debut.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, hey, look at it this way. There's not many hot prospects, like dudes who have a name from outside of the UFC, that win their debut.
Yeah.
Hardly ever.
Yep.
Who is it? Shields?
Eddie Alvarez.
Alvarez, yeah. Melendez.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even even dudes who are super experienced typically don't win their UFC debut. It's really weird, but they typically don't. So it's not really necessarily like if Michael Chandler loses, he's shot or anything. I still expect him to be a factor at 55 for a little bit at least.